All right, let's get right into it. We're going to pull back the curtain on a process that is, and I mean this, absolutely fundamental to construction. It's kind of the invisible hero that shapes the walls, the columns, and the foundations of the entire world around us. Yep, today we are talking all about concrete formwork. So, have you ever just stopped and looked at a perfectly smooth concrete wall and thought, how? How does a wet, soupy, heavy liquid get held in place so perfectly before it turns to solid rock? Well, that's the exact mystery we're solving today. The answer is something called formwork, and really, it's just a temporary mold. The source material gives us this brilliant, simple way to think about it. Just picture a container or a box. That box is what gives the concrete its final shape, holding it all together until it's strong enough to stand up all on its own. Simple, right? But so important. Okay, so now that we know what it is, let's dig into why it matters so much. This is really the secret sauce, the hidden framework, pun absolutely intended, behind every single strong concrete structure you've ever seen. You know, the job of formwork sounds simple, but it is absolutely vital. Its main role, of course, is to give the concrete its shape. Without it, you just have a giant gray puddle. But it also has to be crazy strong to hold back all that weight and pressure, keeping it from just bulging out or collapsing. This is the skeleton for everything from a simple garden wall to massive structural beams in a skyscraper. And this is why you have to get it right. The stakes are incredibly high. You see this quote here? Bad formwork doesn't just look sloppy. It actually creates structural weaknesses. A crooked wall isn't just ugly. It's a potential point of failure. So the big takeaway is this. The quality of the formwork directly, and I mean directly, determines the quality and safety of the final building. All right, so you're convinced. You know this has to be done right. So what do you actually need to get started? Let's gear up and take a look at the toolkit for a successful build. First up, materials. It's a pretty straightforward list, really. You need your timber, your wood boards to build the mold. You need nails and screws to hold it all together. And then there's oil. Now that might seem like a small detail, but trust me, we'll come back to why that little can of oil is a total game changer. And of course, here are the tools to make it all happen. No real surprises here, right? A hammer, a saw, a measuring tape for the basics. But look at the last two, the spirit level and clamps. These are your tools of precision. They're the things that make sure your formwork is perfectly straight and held rock solid. Okay, we've got our materials, we've got our tools. Now it is time for the main event, actually building this thing. Let's walk through this step by step so you can make sure you get a perfect, strong, and safe pour every single time. But wait, before we even think about hammering a nail, we've got to talk about the golden rules. Think of this as your pre-flight check. Use strong wood, no shortcuts with weak stuff. Make sure it's firm and stable, because it's about to fight a battle against the pressure of that concrete. Check that all your joints are tight, no gaps. You don't want concrete bleeding out. And finally, apply that oil. This is what keeps the concrete from sticking to the wood, so it comes off clean. And here's the roadmap. It lays out the whole process perfectly. You measure, cut, assemble, and fix it together. But I want you to pay extra attention to steps 5 and 6. Step 5, checking the alignment, is non-negotiable. That's what stops you from building a crooked wall. And step 6, adding braces for support, is what gives your formwork the muscle it needs to hold back all that concrete. Get those right, oil it up, and you are ready for the pour. So the concrete is poured, it's starting to harden. You'd think the job's over, right? Not quite. Taking the formwork down, dismantling it, is just as critical as building it. This is the big reveal, and you definitely want to do it right. Okay, let's look at the takedown. Step 1 is the big one, and we're going to circle back to it. After that, it's all about being careful and patient. You take off the supports first, then you slowly take the formwork apart. The key is not to chip or damage that beautiful new concrete structure. And hey, a pro move is to stack that timber neatly so you can use it again. I told you we'd come back to this. Seriously, if you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. Do not rush this step. Taking the formwork off too early is one of the most common and most catastrophic mistakes you can make. That concrete needs time to get to its full strength. Just be patient. It's worth it. You know, this really brings us to the clear line between a successful project and a potential disaster. Knowing the difference between doing it right and making a common mistake, well, that's everything. This slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. On the left, that's the goal. Strong, stable, straight, and sealed tight. That gives you a solid, smooth finish. On the right, you see what happens when you cut corners. Weak supports, leaky caps, and, yep, taking it down too early. Every single mistake on the right is just a failure to meet one of the standards on the left. And this is the payoff. This is your reward for doing the job right. It's not just about avoiding a collapse. It's about creating something excellent. Good formwork is the only path to a finished product you can actually be proud of, one that's smooth, strong, and built to last for years to come. All right, let's bring it all home. We've gone from the basic idea to building it to taking it down. So what are the absolute key lessons you need to have locked in your brain? Here is a super simple way to remember the whole process. Just think UMTSD. First, understand its uses, shaping and supporting. Next, get your materials and your tools, from the wood to the spirit level. Then you build to the highest standards, make it strong, stable, and sealed. And finally, you follow the rules for dismantling. Be safe and be patient. That little acronym covers basically everything we've talked about today. And with that, I'm going to leave you with a final thought. You now know the secret behind the shape of nearly every building, bridge, and sidewalk around you. So the next time you're out for a walk, what are you going to see differently? Will you maybe notice the faint lines on a concrete wall left behind by the timber boards? Or will you just appreciate the perfect, sharp edge of a column? The hidden structure is now visible to you.